Hello, I'm back with another one, and I just want to jump in and keep the train of thought going. So I was responding to a question that was like a little bit of a, you could appreciate it as a challenge or just an interesting question that was offered on one of the videos on this channel, and someone said, what am I, why am I here? And I think that that's actually a really beautiful question because one is that if I think I don't know if it was intended like as a deep question or like mocking or what would this video appear on my feed, or what would I be doing wasting time on content like this, that's like or what would someone with content like this be doing on this platform for it to come across the feed. It could easily and maybe likely be intended that way, but it also could, if you just look, sometimes if you look at something not superficially and as it's intended, but as it sounds and as it is, because sometimes like if you were to be around like a real professional, and I've in the same series I've said my caution about professionals. A professional could appreciate exactly what you said out your mouth and hear what you may not have intended to convey out of your mouth, because this so people talk about snitches, and I've said that maybe our phones are snitches, but even this reality is a snitch because it communicates with itself. So sometimes when you see a message or a sign or a wonder, it's not that the universe is intending you a message. The universe is intending itself a message and perceiving a message within itself through you, through your understanding of yourself, which are a part of and behold and beloved and a blessing to this universe. We're actually a blessing to this universe as much as this universe is a blessing to us, because we are actually an intelligent cause, an agent to a different degree within this universe as collaborators, contributors, and benefactors of this universe. But still, sometimes when we're appreciating things and experiencing things, it is the universe having a deeper communion with itself through us, but yet beyond us and transcending us, and maybe even less littler than us. And because little can be greater than what's big, and big can be greater than what's little. That's one. There's no limitation anywhere, and sometimes things that are very fine or subtle can be more potent and efficient, such as causes. But the universe can the universe through a professional or through a content creator or through a commenter or through an educator or through a student or through a guardian or through a child or through an animal or through an insect, or maybe even like things that we are not aware of on the surface, um, could look into something that we said verbatim. So this is what you said superficially, as maybe you had a superficial intention or inspiration to say something, but you yet did say something, and you were afforded the opportunity to say something. Where they in Arthur in and to enunciate how deep expression is, according to Arthur Avalon, is that when any sound that transpires in the universe, anything that is enunciated, even thought, because it actually doesn't have to get to the point of coming out loud. That'd be like gross speech, but you have subtle speech. That's subtle speech, but deeper than that, you have causal speech, and that's still speech at all those levels, and it's still decipherable and appreciable to the broader what's called universe. If you appreciate how interconnected and fine and profound and subtle the universe is, beyond subtle, what we think in our heart can be appreciated, and that's actually maybe how we have a will over our physical person and body, is because our body is actually fine enough and subtle enough and receptive enough to respond to our very thought, will, and emotion that is heart, our will. And it's actually, sometimes I think that if you've ever had like your foot flinch in the middle of the night, kind of like when a doctor touches your knee, and that knee jerk, that's called a knee jerk response, a reflex, that's beyond your conscious control. Sometimes I think that when your body flinches, when you actually didn't move or appreciate yourself as moving. One is that as you understand yourself on a deeper level, I think what that may be is your subconscious experience of existing, which is giving you a sensation of being conscious, but it's still more so, I think, unconscious on the deeper level, because it's perceived, ascertained, rendered, and fashioned to your experience as a conscious person, which might be actually a respect or gesture or deference to your free will and your mind, will, and heart, and your choice of what you would like to experience, and therefore your learning may belong to you and your love may belong to you because of the choice within that. That might be a respect and a deference of the broader universe, which our bodies and minds are constituents of the universe and still abide within the universe. but our perception of being an identity, a person, but also our facility and prerogative to make choices that might be afforded to us as a blessing, and but it responds to our true desire. So what if you had the greatest of parents? What would they want for you? They would want for you exactly what you want for you, which is your mind, your will, emotions, your interests, your fears, your tastes, your loves, your thrills, your joys, your fun, your discipline. All that is what a real loving parent would want for you, and the parent of parents, the parents of parents, um, and also the child of parents is what would want that for you. But and your um, and your child, which is also you, would want that for you. Um, but but when you move without appreciating yourself as consciously intending that, that might be either your subconscious awareness perceiving itself doing something, or making a emotion itself, because they say some reflexes they transpire before they reach our conscious attention, such as when your hand retracts from something very hot or cold, or maybe something else and you retracts. I'm not going to talk about that, um, uh, or recoils, but that might be one, is that that was you on a deeper level that you weren't conscious of, or it can be another cause or influence or someone or something that knows you to such a degree that they're actually in sympathy with your real frequency of existing, your real essence, your real being. They're in such sympathy with that. They have such esteem for you or such contempt for you that they're actually in sympathy with that, and their intention for you is actually responded to by your body, which might not decipher your own intention, or something, an influence without that would come, that would be so in sympathy, that is concerned with you, that is in love with you, that is in hate with you, to actually vibrate on that same frequency that you're at, and then respond to that. But then by the time that your conscious mind ascertains that's not real, or that's not you as consciousness, but your subconsciousness, there might be that might actually be significant as some type of discrepancy between your will and the will of your subconscious, or others that your subconscious is perceiving or that is not perceiving, that is affecting you in the subtlest of ways. So anomalies are very important. Anything is significant, especially things that are not intended, such as the like a flinch of emotion that wasn't intended. But but um uh but what I want to say is that I got a little bit sidetracked with that, which is that, but someone offered on this question, this statement, this channel discussion, why am I here? And if you were to just look directly at, so what I meant to say, according to Arthur Avalon, is that anything that has ever, any sound that has transpired, there's no creation of sound in space, and there's no cessation of sound in space. So anything that is saying, anything that I'm saying, had already been said on so many levels, and conceived and thought of, before it gets to the point of enunciating, but yet it still exists after it's been enunciated. So all the things we've heard said about us, to us, or for us, or with us, or in front of us, or behind us, that had already existed on a level before it got to the point of manifesting as experience. So actually experience is experience, and it's existing before it transpires as experience. And that might be the last most superficial degree of experience, is what you actually have the sensation or awareness of. And by the time that it got there, it had been waiting in the wings. An example of this, I don't mean this threatening or anything like that, or like callous or indifference, but they say, like in some of those old gangster movies, like me and my friends would watch a lot of that. I'm not that, but I would watch that when I was young. Is that by the time you find out someone had a problem with you, by the time the order gets to you, when the order is about you, you're the last to know, if you ever get around to knowing at all. And that actually might be experiences, that experience had already been decided for and put in motion. The cause had already been at play long before the effect was experienced or recognized or appreciated. And that might be similar with our statements, which is so deep and profound about our statements, but all sound in general, which are not entirely different than the statements that we have that are very like simple, like speaking in English. But just that a person asked that question on this channel, why am I here? That might be deeper in that question existed, and that statement existed before it was enunciated publicly, even in text, because it would have taken subtle speech, then maybe causal, then subtle speech, then get to the point of our actual motor control. That's a lot of will to type that and to enter that, but it may have already existed. And it's a beautiful question if you were to just come on and say, why am I here? That's deep, and I wouldn't be competent to answer that, but it could also be interchanged with, what am I? What am I here? And it's equally deep, and that's actually existential. And there's more beauty and insight and meaning in that question than I may have offered on this channel to this point, and what you could learn from that and appreciate from that statement on the surface verbatim.